Yeah.
Welcome to Dateline New Haven on WNHH 103.5 FM. It's a beautiful afternoon in New Haven, and I'm Alan Appel, reporter with the New Haven Independent. My pleasure to host this afternoon's program, and I am particularly happy because I am in a position to reveal during the course of this afternoon's 30 or 40-minute conversation a real secret treasure in New Haven, and that is Art Tyson, who is the second best in the world, ain't too bad, a horseshoe pitching champion of the world. And Art is here in the studio. He has written with his friend Glenn Ellis a book with that title, A Second Best in the World, Ain't Too Bad, about a life pitching horseshoes around the world, including going to Japan, representing the United States. But it all began with a boyhood and a rich family life, including lots of horseshoes and everything else at the Elm Haven Projects. Welcome, Art Tyson, and welcome, Glenn Ellis.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Alan.
A great pleasure. I read this book and I said to myself as I was reading, how many people in New Haven, A, know that there is a New Haven Horseshoe Club? How many people know where it is? How many people know anything about the game of horseshoes? And then if they know anything, in their mind, it's very much of a kind of thing that, in my mind anyway, Midwestern white farmers tossing horseshoes around. It's not the kind of thing that an African American man, especially in the 1950s, would become part of. So, Art, tell me about one of the pleasures of reading your book is learning about a childhood where somehow you, as a kid, according to your book, in a very large family with some brothers who came before you, they started tossing horseshoes at the Elm Haven Projects, but it really struck a chord with you. Tell us about how you got really enamored of the game.
Well, I lived in the projects, and during the summer school, they had tennis, different games like that, and they had horseshoes. I like to throw rocks all the time, and this just came natural to me. Every day I got the horseshoes out and was pitching horseshoes there in the schoolyard. And the two of my brothers used to be city champ, so we had so they was champs before I was, but every day I was pitching horseshoes at the summer school during the summer months.
Now, which school was this, Art? Was this the Winchester
This is
School?
Winchester School. I was going to Winchester School.
On Winchester Avenue.
No, right there in
Was it in Elm Haven?
right in Elm Haven, right across from us.
So there was an actual horseshoe court on the campus of the school?
Wasn't a real court. We just put stakes in the ground,
Ah,
like a backyard play, picnic plays. We used to just put the stakes in the ground. That's all.
with no barrier or anything like that.
No clay, nothing like that. We just put the stakes in the ground and
Right.
pitched like that.
Right, right.
Even when I went to Japan, I put the stakes in front of the stage and I shot 19 out of 20. There was no court,
Right.
So every day I pitched horseshoes.
But so why do you think you stuck with it? When you're pitching horseshoes, what goes through the mind? Why do you were a state champion in Connecticut in '72. In '92, you went to Japan. You were a New York state champion, and you were devoted to this. What is there about doing it that makes you enjoy spending so many hours getting perfect?
Well, I wanted to be good. I wanted to be recognized,
Mm-hmm.
and I stuck to the game. I wanted to be good. I wanted people to recognize who I was. So I went on to when I was pitching horseshoes in the schoolyard. Someone said, "Artie, there's a league over in Westville." So I went over there, and sure enough, there was a league over there. And I met this guy named Walt Mozak that was running the club over there. And I met a lot of good horseshoe players, but they were much better than me. And I thought I was good in the projects, but when I met these guys, they were much better than me.
Mm.
So and I didn't. He asked me what was my percentage. I says I really don't know anything about percentage. So when I found out, he put me in the low group. I was pitching 30%, but they had guys over there that was pitching 60 and 65 and 70%. And I said, wow. So, and they were shooting a 1 1/4 turn, and I was shooting a flip shoe. So continued shooting the flip shoe, and I got up to about 50%. So then I said, well, there must be something why everybody's pitching a turn shoe. So it took me 3 years to get up to about 70% at hard work. I wanted to be good, and I stuck to it. I practiced every night, and it was in my mind all the time to be good. It took me 3 years to get up to about 70%.
And how many hours do you put in order to make that kind of growth in your
Every
game?
time I went to the park, I put 3 4 hours in.
3 or 4 hours just by yourself pitching.
Yeah.
You pitch, you go from one end to the other.
It's back and forth,
back and forth.
And then I went to tournaments on the weekends too.
But it's so interesting. You as a kid growing up in the projects, and your book is full of recollections of life at the Elm Haven. What is it? High rise, low rise. It used to be called. And I love learning about the stores where the kids used to go to hang out. Bazookas
I used to hang out in front of Bazookas all the time. A bunch of guys used to hang out in front of Bazookas.
Right.
And I used to sing. I used to try to be in a singing group.
Right. Doo-wop.
Doo-wop, 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 doo-wop. I wanted to be a singer too, you know.
But you figured you're better at horseshoes than singing?
Well, I was still playing horseshoes at the same time.
Right. But this is so interesting that you're a kid in the projects, and you didn't even know that where is it, on Springside Avenue on the west side?
Yeah, right. That's where the club was.
And it was obviously around in the 1950s.
I got over there what year was that I got over there? Somewhere in that area.
So I bet listeners here on WNHH 103.5 here on Dateline New Haven, talking with Art Tyson and Glenn Ellis, the authors of Second Best in the World, Ain't Too Bad. The kind of it's a kind of history of a corner of New Haven, the courts over on Springside Avenue, that I think most New Haveners don't even know that place exists. I did not when I met you, Glenn. You were there pitching horseshoes, and I was there covering a story about gardening nearby, and I thought the horseshoes were much more interesting than the gardening. Tell us about how you met Art and began to see, I guess from your point of view, the importance of telling his story, which is not only a story of an African-American man in a kind of white sport that people don't know much about, but also a kind of travel back in time.
Okay, so I'm like Artie. I was playing horseshoes young too, and I thought I was good, and I'm pretty sad that I didn't learn about the horseshoe club either until I was close to 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I met Artie was I was playing horseshoes on Arthur Street, and one of the people I was playing with, ironically enough, was Art's brother. Of course, I didn't know that at the time.
Rashid.
Right. Art's brother, Rashid. And just like Art, eventually Rashid told me, hey, there's a horseshoe club over in Westville. And so I'm like, I had the same reaction. Oh, yeah? Let me go over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I thought I was good. Got there and found out I wasn't as good as I thought. But anyway, I started at New Haven Horseshoe Club, and probably in about a year's time, I mean, I had met this guy named Harold Peters who was there, and he mentioned Art Tyson, the champ. I didn't know they were brothers. I didn't know he and Rashid were brothers, but he mentioned Art Tyson. who had went to Japan and all of that, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting.
In '92, he'd gone to Japan,
Right.
and
Right.
officially representing the
NHPA,
National Horseshoe Pitchers Association of America.
Right.
Chosen to do that, a big honor.
So I went there, and eventually I met Artie. And the first time I met Artie said, I thought I was good. Artie said, well, we're going to play a game. We're going to play the 40, and I'm going to keep you under 10. I'm like, I looked at him like, nah, that ain't happening. But I played Artie, and yes, I got to 8 points. But it taught me that I need to get way better.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he was like bragging about it. He was pretty humble, but he beat me pretty soundly, ringer after ringer after ringer. I'm like, what is this? And so that was my introduction to Art Tyson.
Well, one of the pleasures of this book, as we're talking about horseshoes, for me anyway, I guess because I'm a word guy, is while you don't anywhere specifically in the book, Art, you don't actually explain the game and how you win, but you one of the parts of the book is you run down some of the great players that you've competed against, and they're wonderful. You were talking about a flip shot and
they got all kinds of turns.
But listen to this: ringers and low drive and pumping and the turn shoe and your release and a quarter turn and a reverse turn and to shoot 1 1/4, and you even had a horseshoe named after you, but there was a question about the breaker, which must be some part of the shoe. So is it possible to explain? I understand when you get your percentage up to 80 or 90%, where you have to be a champion. That I assume that would mean that for every 10 shoes that you throw, 8 are ringers.
That's right.
How do you win a game? How do you win a game in horseshoes or a set of games? Or how did you beat Glenn when you first met him? How does one win at horseshoes?
Well, we mostly play 35 points, and it's called cancellation. In other words, if I put 2 ringers on and you put 2 ringers on, there's no score, but you write down the ringers. If I put 2 ringers on, you put 1 ringer on, I pick up 3 points. If I put 2 ringers on, you put none on, I get 6 points. And if you have a ringer piece, the one that's closest to the pole within, I think it's 10 inches, is the point. So you can get 1 point, 2 points, you can make a ringer, 3 points.
And you just you pick a threshold number that you call whoever gets to that point first number.
Exactly.
Got it. And and each time how many shoes do you have to throw each time?
It depends on if I'm a 80% and he's a 30, that game is not going to last for about 20, 30 shoes. But if you have a guy that's right up to me, 75, 80% like I am, the game can go on to 100 and something shoes because you're putting 4 dead on, 4 dead on, 4 dead on, no score. 4 dead, no score.
Got it. So if a dead on is dead on like is that the term for like a perfect ringer, or is the ringer a ringer?
Well, you can put a ringer on, but as long as you can touch the 2 ends without hitting the pole, it's a ringer. So it don't have to be all the way up, but as long as you can take the straight edge and touch the both ends without hitting the pole, that's a ringer.
The 4 dead refers to 4 shoes that are on. The 2 eliminated the 2, so it's no points. Right, that's the 4 dead.
I see.
But the ringer percentage goes on.
Right.
If we do that 10 times in a row, we shoot 100%, but there's no score.
I see. So your ringer percentage just helps you be in a category of competition.
Oh yeah.
So I see. So
most of the time we go to the tournament, they try to make it even as possible. They put the A guys with the A guys, the B guys with the B guys,
right,
the C guys, so to make it pretty even. They go by your percentage.
Right. So one of the things that I loved about the book is there are a couple of points where you talk about the experience of playing. So I if you could turn to page 61, you're writing here about the concentration, I guess, that's involved in putting those ringers on. I wonder if one of you might want to read. Um, this is your description of your goal to be the.
I'm gonna read because
Okay.
Artie didn't bring his glasses.
That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Glenn reading on the chapter called World Class Competition. I was going to ask you guys about how, one of the things you often talk about, Art, is how you said about yourself, you're not a big tall guy, you didn't play basketball or football.
Right.
But you're actually pretty small, you described, at 5'7" or so. So a lot of these horseshoe pitchers are much bigger. But what this section on page 61 is not so much about the physical requirements, but I think the mental requirements to pitch. So maybe you can share that with our listeners here on Dateline New Haven with Art Tyson and Glenn Ellis on Second Best in the World Ain't Too Bad, the book that just came out about horseshoe pitching.
Okay, so it says when you are standing on the platform, you got pitchers on the left side and the right side. You have to learn how to block them out because you see pitchers on the side of your eye swinging their shoes, but you got to focus and block them out. Those little things that can bother you. You have people in the background or in the stands that move. You have to learn how to concentrate if you want to be a good horseshoe player. Some people have problems with that. You have to get into your own frame of mind and do what you have to do. There's going to be a lot of movement out there, but you can't let those things bother you. You got to look at that stake and concentrate.
So why don't you read the next paragraph, because the Art there is talking about, I guess, what is motivating him to put all this effort of practice in. That next paragraph.
Okay, it says, as I mentioned before, I wanted to be the first black ever to win the world championship. I dedicated myself. Practice, practice, practice. Go to tournaments, practice. I gave up my life for this game, but I loved it. I made a name for myself, and I came in second 3 times. Almost won it, but I was the second best in the world 3 times. My best years were in the 90s. I was averaging 82, 84%. My biggest tournament was in New Jersey when I averaged 87%.
Right.
And that's the ringer percentage, 87%, right?
Ring percentage, yes.
Right.
The
Right.
thing is that you got to try to make yourself into like a robot when you pitching. You can't let a lot of things bother you out there. You have to be like a machine. Do the same thing every time, all the time.
The word you used someplace else in the book is you said you just have to pitch and pitch until the word you used is until it becomes automatic.
Yeah, you want to try to become automatic. After a while, you get it down so pat it becomes automatic.
So when you're pitching those horseshoes, are you kind of in a zone? I mean, are you know what
You know when you're in the zone. That's the thing. If you can get into that zone and do the same thing every time, same height, same shoes, same speed, you know when you're in the zone. When you're not in the zone. Sometimes you go off the zone, but you got to try to get back in as soon as possible.
So what techniques do you use when you're slipping out and you want to get back into that highest level of concentration?
Well, maybe I lost concentration. Maybe I'm letting something bother me. But sometimes we all go off.
Right.
And I try to get back in the zone as soon as possible. The next shot.
You have a technique? Do you repeat some magic words?
Everybody has their own style. I have my own style of pitching. 1 1/4 on the left-hand side.
Right.
And when I get locked in that zone, it's easy. But none of us are like machines, so sometimes we're gonna go off.
Right.
But we try to get back on as soon as possible.
Right.
You know?
So when you're playing at a really high level, do people talk to each other?
I don't talk to nobody. I don't talk to nobody. I got to concentrate. If I talk to the guy and laugh at the guy and say, nice shoe, I lose concentration. I look at the stake, keep my mind on the game at all times, every shot.
Yeah.
To me, this is very serious business for me.
Yeah. You sound like I was thinking of the way a pitcher in baseball tries to keep his, what do they call it, his mechanics uh, identical. If
You need to have good mechanics.
And then
Good eyes, good mechanics.
right,
Your mechanics is very important. That
right,
you bend your knees at the right time. Your arm is coming back at the right time.
right,
Just like a bird flies. He's in that groove.
yeah. So our listeners can't see, but Art was kind of flapping his wings here slightly. So one of the things that you talk in the book about wanting to, and I really I identify with your desire to be like the best in the world at something. I think you talk about it in your book as something that occurred to you when you were a young man, a boy even, that you
Yes.
really wanted to be not just good, but like
The best
in the world at
That's
something.
right.
And you
That
know,
was my goal.
well, you had a lot of, you're a lucky man in the sense that you found something that you could do. I think the
Oh, I
world
love
is
the
full
game.
of kids who want to be like the best basketball player or the best baseball player, but you found something that was just right for you.
It came natural to me. I wanted to be the best. I had a knack for pitching horseshoes, and I wanted to be the best, the first black ever to win the world championship. That was my goal. I didn't let nobody stop me. I didn't want nobody to stop me, and I went for it. Gave it all I got.
Well, so this was the era, the 50s and the 1960s of the Black Power movement and the assertion of black civil rights, Martin Luther King. Was your desire to be the first African American doing this? Was that your way of participating in that social movement, or uh, did you see it that way? That it was important. I guess what I'm getting also is, did you encounter any kind of prejudice in basically a largely
Oh,
white
yeah.
sport, right?
Yes. When I first started out, I can remember when I first went to the New York State Championship,
Right.
and I know this guy named Kyle Steinfeld. He was a world-class horseshoe pitcher, and I knew that I was pretty good, but I didn't think I was ready for him. And in 1977, I went to my first state horseshoe championship, and I had to play Kyle. I was very nervous, but I beat him in the round robin. And then I felt all the pressure and everything come right through my body. I felt something. Because I had to play him again in the playoff, and I said, I know I can beat this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But after I beat him, they didn't want to give me the recognition. I beat their man up there. They didn't like that. At first they didn't like that. It took me a while for them to really get to know me and to love me.
But did they gave you the trophy?
Well, let me talk about the trophy a little bit.
I'm here on page 53, where you say, I remember when I won my first state championship and they didn't treat me so well. I felt discriminated on concerning when you win a championship, you get $250.
Right. They lost all my paperwork, they said. And when you win, you get like $250 and a traveling trophy and a regular trophy. And every time I won it, they can't find the traveling trophy.
Jeez.
Every time the other guys won it, they get it. I don't know where it comes from.
What year was this?
Oh, that was back in the 70s. 77 I started.
Wow.
So that was late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area there.
But you say down here, I wouldn't let prejudice stop me.
No, I didn't. I still didn't allow them to stop me. Some people get mad and stop, say, I don't want to play with those guys. But that gave me more courage to play more. When they try to stop me, that gave me a better thrill to go on with my career. So I didn't let them stop me no matter how they treated me. Sometimes they promised me trophies and they didn't come up with it. They gave me something else when I won the state championship. This is New York State.
And are you you're more or less the only black player at these competitions, right? Occasionally there's somebody else, you said.
Yeah. I've been in 30 world tournaments. I've been the only black playing.
Wow.
In the championship. When I went to the state, I was the only one playing there. this is not a black man's sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was one of the only ones. I
Yeah.
was glad when I seen one or two somewhere around the world when I
Yeah.
travel.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. You're right about that. But now, as after maybe 10 years or so, all start loving me.
Right.
They all start loving me. I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't quit.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the thrill.
Yeah. No.
That was the thrill. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be recognized. I wanted people to know who I was.
Yeah. You wanted to be the best horseshoe player, not the best black horseshoe player. Just wanted to be the best horseshoe player.
Well, I know I'm black, but
right. But
so-
you say here, I had my ups and downs with some of the white people, but I didn't let anything stop me. I had a goal in mind to continue playing horseshoes, and I've been around white people so much I knew I was black, but I just considered myself as a horseshoe player.
That's right. That's right.
you know?
Absolutely right about that.
Right.
I didn't feel discriminated on after a while. I just felt like one of them.
But wasn't there one guy, I forget, somewhere in your
One
book,
guy down in West Virginia.
he thought you had a tail?
Oh yeah,
I
I
can
met this
testify
guy-
you don't have a tail.
no, I met this guy named Joe Shooks. He lived in Brentwood, Long Island,
Right.
and he said to me when we got tight, we traveled all over the world together, me and Joe. He said, I heard before I met you that you had a tail or something, like black people got a tail. But when I met you, you didn't have no tail. And we traveled all up and down the East and West Coast all
Yeah.
the time, me and Joe Schultz.
Yeah.
He was a German guy, but that was in his mind from, I guess, a little kid. Somebody probably told him that,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yes, yes, yes.
Or you have a tail because you're a devil or something like that.
Now, somebody put that in his mind.
A devilish horseshoe player. So your book, which is called "Second Best in the World Ain't Too Bad," which I think is one of the wonderful titles of all time, by Art Tyson, a 3-time second best in the world horseshoe pitching champion, here on Dateline New Haven with his co-author Glenn Ellis. And so, Glenn, tell us where people could buy this book, and tell us also if they wanted, for example, to meet Art, where specifically the New Haven Horseshoe Club is, and when might you guys be there?
Okay, so the book is on Amazon. You can buy the book on Amazon. You can order the book at any bookstore. But you can also email myself for a direct order, and that'll probably cost you a little less in terms of shipping, and that'll be a little more beneficial for Artie and myself. And my email address is glenn.ellis77@gmail.com, and that's GLENNIS77@gmail.com. You can just write me and we'll get you a copy. But of course, like I said, you can buy it, you can order it on Amazon, you can go to any bookstore. Now, the New Haven Horseshoe Club is located on Springside Avenue. That's off of Blake Street in New Haven. It's 40 Springside Avenue. So if you start on Springside Avenue and you go about, I'm going to say about 2,000 feet, 2,000 yards, maybe 2,000 feet, you'll look to the right and you'll see a space, and there's an opening.
It's kind of hidden.
It is. It's
Yeah,
definitely.
It's
hidden.
physically hidden. It's as if you guys want to keep the secret.
Well, they kept it a secret.
They sure kept it a
They
secret.
kept it a secret. I wish I'd have known. I would have went there about when I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I'm sure Artie would have got there a bit earlier also.
Yeah. So as I was reading the book, one of the things I was commenting on to myself was what a wonderful look at life in New Haven in the African American community in the 1950s and 60s. And Artie, I got to ask you, Artie, I called you Artie. I feel I know you since I read your autobiography. But you apparently, in addition to tossing rocks when you were a little kid, which kind of prepared you for
Oh, we love to throw rocks and hit birds and break windows here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to do that in the projects, man.
Yeah. Do you go to do you go back for the reunions, the Elmhaven reunions that are held in Scantlebury Park? Once a year, once every 2 years, all the those events, we've covered them with the Independent. People who lived in the high low projects that walk around with T-shirts that say high or low.
Those projects are gone.
But they
Right.
still go over there. They have a reunion.
Yeah, it's Monterey Place now.
No, I hadn't been to a reunion.
Yeah,
there's
because
I moved to New York.
you
I
moved
was
to
down
New
there
York.
for 40 years.
That's right, and that's right.
You know, after me and my first wife broke up, I
right.
moved to New York.
But now you're back, actually.
Now I'm back again
n-
because my
near-
wife died down there, and
Right.
things changed up for me.
But
I'm just about back where I was born. at.
where you started on Foot Street, you said you
Yeah,
were born
I'm
on
right.
Foot Street.
I'm
It's right there.
Emerald and Dixville.
Well, I'll let you know about this. But every summer, there is a reunion, and it's people right in the park there next to
What park?
Scantlebury Park, right behind the where the Yale Police Station is now, off
Oh, I
of
don't-
off
never
of
been.
Ashman Street.
Yeah, right around the corner from where you're at. They have the reunion.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's, but I, and as I was reading this, you describe how you were one of 7 or 8 boys and 4 girls and a huge family, and the family went through 13 loaves of bread a day.
There was 8 boys and 3 girls.
And this family loved toast, apparently.
Well, I was brought up on toast. We had the Wonder Bread Bakery right there on Ashman Street.
There you go.
Me, myself, I loved oatmeal. And we got 13 loaves of bread every day. Every day I had at least 10 to 12 pieces of toast every morning.
And your brothers remember that you used to cut that toast up into little tiny
cut
pieces.
it very neat. Everything has been neat. I was Mr. That's why I'm Mr. Clean. That's why I'm Mr. Clean the ringing machine.
Oh, that's right. And you obviously had day jobs through your life, and you worked in the cleaning business.
Right.
For
I
many,
started
many
out.
years.
You see, I was born and bred with a broom in my hand, determined to be the best in the land.
Yeah.
Not like a robot, but not like a machine, but just a mountain man called Mr. Clean. When I was born, I used to work for my mother. I did windows. I cleaned the house.
Right.
It's something that came natural to me.
Mm.
I always was like a neat freak guy.
Right. You described
And I
yourself.
worked for 3 window cleaning companies.
Right.
And then I went in business for myself. I had my business in New York for 35 years.
Right.
Mr. Clean's window cleaning and floor service.
Right.
So cleaning has been in my life. And I still do that.
You're back now after all these years on off of Dixwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I didn't know I was coming back. But, in life, things change.
well,
I didn't know I was coming back, but I'm back.
you're back, and it I don't know. As a story, it feels like it's a good new chapter. It's new, but it's also old, and you're still the way your book concludes. You've set yourself a new goal. There's a kind of elder league, and you're pitching not 40 feet but 30 feet. You want to be the best in the world.
I want to be the best at 30 feet.
Which is,
I'm not sure if my health will hold up.
right.
But that's my goal to be. I did 40 feet all my life. This will be another goal for me. My legs will hold up. My health will hold up to be a 30-foot champion.
Now, is the 30 foot? Is that for seniors, or do a lot of people play at 30 feet, regardless of age?
It's for seniors and for those maybe a little handicapped.
Right.
I think it's basically for seniors. Is that right, Ellis?
Also, women and children up to a certain age shoot 30 feet.
So, what is the shoe a metal shoe?
Shoe is a metal shoe,
And
almost about 2 pounds.
Ah,
Most of them are 2.
6 pounds,
What shoe did you
8
use?
ounces.
What did you use?
I always use like 2 pounds, 8 ounces, 2 pounds, 9 ounces.
mm.
Yeah, they weigh right in that area. Not too heavy, not too light. I always like my shoes,
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not a big guy at all, and you were just some of your
I'm not a
competitors
big
were
guy,
6 feet, 6'2".
but I got a big heart.
Yeah.
Got a big heart.
So just to get back to the cleaning and the cutting up the toast into a million pieces, I'm always intrigued by connecting certain aspects of a person's life. Do you think that interest that you have in precision to cut, is that related to tossing horseshoes? The pleasures of cutting up the toast into all these pieces, is that and making it just neat? Is that related to tossing the shoes?
I think that I believe I was born with something. You know, with a knack. I always liked things neat and clean. Even with my second wife, I got on her case so much about cleanliness. It wasn't about a man, it wasn't about a woman, but it was about cleaning. I had to get up off of that a little bit because all our arguments was about cleaning. I don't know, it's something about me that I always wanted to be neat and clean. Everything got to be in orderly. One of those kind of people. Since I was a little kid.
Well, you worked it out because you were married for 40 years, right?
I had to,
second wife.
because I was going to be in trouble. I had to work that out.
There you go.
Get up off of some of that cleaning stuff.
There you go. I love chatting with you. Great congratulations to you, Art Tyson, and to Glenn Ellis, your co-writer on Second Best in the World, Ain't Too Bad, the autobiography of Art Tyson, who's really a New Haven treasure, ladies and gentlemen, here in Dateline, New Haven. We don't have that many champions of the world or second best champions in the world in our town, and delighted to have you. I hope that the African American Heritage Association knows about this book. Do you know the Ethnic Heritage Association? Do you know about that group, Glenn?
Vaguely familiar. We actually sent the book to the African American Museum in Washington.
Great.
Because we felt that again, it's a treasure people don't know about Artie, but we think he should be included. But I'm glad you mentioned one that's locally, because we'll get the book out to them also.
Right, the Ethnic Heritage Society, and it's a kind of umbrella, and within that there is an Italian American Society, a Jewish, and they collect material as well as stories, and they're centered over at Southern Connecticut State University.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
we'll certainly check them out.
Thank you, gentlemen, again, and great good luck on getting up to 80 or 90% at 30 feet, Mr. Tyson.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you very much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and great good luck with the book.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.